Federal government approves 37 new universities in the country. United States imposes visa bans on Nigerians who undermine democracy. President doctors declare 5-day warning strike. On business news, federal government advocates gas utilization for safer environment. In international scene, South Africa Army Chief visits Moscow in wake of United States weapons claim. On sport update, CAF hands Golden Eaglets another award despite quarterfinals elimination. Hello and welcome to Standard Voice Television Newsroom. I'm Kulthum Muhammad. The Federal Executive Council has approved the licensing of 37 new universities in the country. The meeting, which was presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, came in spite of complaints of proliferation of universities in Nigeria. Minister of Education Adamu Adamu made the announcement after the extraordinary council meeting on Monday. Mr. Adamu noted that the development brings to 72 total numbers of universities licensed by the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration since 2015.
37 new private universities have been licensed, and that will make this regime probably the most university-friendly regime, because we have so far established 72 universities, 14 by states since 2015, and 14 by the federal government, 21 by states, and 37 private. So total we have 72 new from 2015 to date. And today I'm introducing 37 new universities. We need more universities. We are still under-university. And if there are universities that are underfunded, they should be funded and shouldn't affect new universities that have been established.
Although he did not name the universities, he revealed that one of them is an online university, the first of its kind in Nigeria, and owned by a woman from Bauchi State, with the expectation that it will cater for the likes of northern Muslim women who feel reluctant or are restrained from attending a physical campus education. The United States announced the imposition of visa restrictions on individuals in Nigeria who undermined and disrupted the 2023 general elections in the country. The U.S. Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, who announced the position of the United States government in a statement, explained that the sanctions were specific to certain individuals and not the Nigerian people or the government as a whole. Mr. Blinken said the United States was committed to supporting and advancing democracy in Nigeria and around the world, adding that the United States has taken steps to impose visa restrictions on specific individuals in Nigeria for undermining the democratic process during Nigeria's 2023 election cycle. The statement further explained that the visa ban was the U.S. commitment towards supporting Nigeria's aspirations to strengthen the rule of law. President Muhammadu Buhari has called on newly elected governors in the country to deliver on their campaign promises to the people when they assume office. President Buhari gave the advice in his remarks delivered by the Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, in Abuja at the induction program for governors organized by the Nigeria's Governors Forum. The President said by May 29, the governors-elect would be called upon to steer the affairs of their states for the next 4 years and become wholly responsible for the states as an enterprise. He urged them to take their tasks with utmost responsibility to justify the trust bestowed on them by voters or get voted out after 4 years. The Nigerian military and the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, has on Monday read the Riot Act to individuals and groups opposed to the inauguration of the President-elect Bola Tinubu on May 29th. The Director of Defense Information, Brigadier General Tukur Gusau, re-echoed the military warning to the objectors groups that any threat to the transition program and by extension to democracy in the country would be crushed. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, had earlier threatened to crack down on potential threats to national security and warned troublemakers not to test the will of the military. The Defense Headquarters and the police handed down the warning as a federal high court sitting in Abuja fixed Thursday for hearing of a suit seeking to stop inauguration of the former Lagos State governor. Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors has declared a 5-day warning strike following failure of the federal government to meet its demands. The decision was reached after the association's extraordinary National Executive Council meeting on Monday. According to the doctors, the strike will commence on Wednesday, May 17th and end on Monday, May 22nd. The doctors are demanding immediate increment in consolidated medical salary structure amounting to 200% of the current gross salary of doctors and new allowances included in a letter written by the association to Minister of Health, Mr. Osagi Ehanire, on July 7, 2022. They are also demanding immediate payment of the 2023 Medical Residency Training Fund, which aligns with agreements reached at a stakeholders meeting convened by the Federal Ministry of Health. Other demands included commencement of payment of all salary arrears owed members, including 2014, 2015 and 2016 arrears, as well as consequential adjustment of the minimum wage. The Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, announced that the current disagreement between telecoms firms and deposit money banks over non-payment for the provision of the unstructured supplementary service data transactions must be resolved in the overall interest of financial consumers. This was just as the CBN governor launched the Sabi Money e-learning platform, a fully digital national e-learning portal that provides a knowledge base for financial literacy. Speaking at the ceremony in Abuja, Mr. Emefiele expressed optimism that the disputes between the banks and the telecoms, which had dragged on for over 3 years, would be amicably resolved, especially through the instrumentality of the central bank. Telecoms operators in Nigeria had last Friday withdrawn their services to banks, causing customers difficulty in accessing online banking transactions that depend on the platform. These are transactions conducted on mobile phones, like fund transfers through short codes and checking of bank details and account balances, among other services with or without data or internet services. The National Bureau of Statistics on Monday released the last consumer price index in the life of the current administration, showing headline inflation of 22.22%, whereas the high inflation rate is often blamed on food and energy costs. Core inflation, which strips out volatile items, including food, remained elevated at 20.14%. Month-on-month change, which underpins the current strength of the price crisis, was 1.91%, which suggests Nigeria may have a long way to go on inflation except drastic measures are taken. In April 2015, a month before Buhari assumed office, the headline inflation reading was 8.7%, but in the following year, it spiked into the double-digit range and remained in the range since then. With the monetary policy rate now 18%, commercial loans are in the region of 28 and 33%. According to figures released by the NBS, inflation went up from 22.04% to 22.22% in April, in continuation of its upward trend. The Nigeria Police Trust Fund has organized a 5-day training on public order policing, crowd management and force management protection in Zamfara State. The program will be held at Universal Basic Education Center, Gusau, Zamfara State, from the 15th of May to the 19th of May 2023. The coordinator, Bashir Umar, said the purpose of the training is to train the Nigeria Police to know the role of Nigeria Police, human rights and police maintenance of law and order, crowd management and crowd dispersal and managing of violence, the role of law enforcement in the protection and control of violence, security framework, and Public Order Act.
We in Police Trust Fund, we are to make sure that this training is conducted in line with the guidelines stipulated. We are also here to make sure that at the end of the program, certificates are issued to the participant, as well as allowances are paid to the participant.
Assistant Commissioner of Police Bello Umar Dankan, Zamfara State, who delivered a lecture to the trainees, said the training is to ensure the total upgrade of the Nigeria Police and also advised them to be up and doing in the discharge of their duties.
We hope throughout the course participants will get a grip of what we are going to talk to you. We are going to talk to you about public order. What were the laws guiding post order?
A trainee who expressed his happiness with the training thanked the Nigeria Police Trust Fund for coming up with such an assessment method. Kebbi State government has indicated readiness to enter into a partnership with Egypt on agricultural development and livestock production. The state governor, Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, stated this while receiving Egyptian experts who visited him at the Government House in Kebbi. Governor Bagudu told the Egyptian that the administration believed in partnership and cooperation as essential ingredients for development, saying Kebbi State has been endowed with high agricultural potential and rated as the second most livestock-producing state in the country. The governor described the people of Kebbi State as hardworking and ready to imbibe modern methods on agricultural and livestock production. He commended the national president of the Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, Alhaji Aminu Goroyo, for facilitating the visit of the Egyptian experts to the state and preparing ground for joint mutual cooperation in the agricultural sector. Chief of Army Staff General Farouk Yahaya on Monday urged officers and men of the Nigerian Army on professionalism and proficiency in the discharge of military operations. General Yahaya gave the charge during the flag-off of the maiden captain to the Major Written Promotion Examination, Direct Regular Commission 2023, held at the Nigerian Army School of Supply and Transport, Benin, Edo State. The Army Chief stressed that advancement in knowledge and skills is key in military operations globally. Similarly, the Nigerian Army has announced the rescue of another Chibok girl, Saratu Dauda, abducted with others at Government Girls Secondary School, Chibok, Borno in 2014. The Theater Commander, Northeast Joint Operation Hadenkai, Major General Ibrahim Ali, made this known while briefing newsmen at the Maimalari cantonment in Maiduguri. Major General Ali said Saratu was rescued on May 6th by troops of 21 Armored Brigade during clearance operation at Okuba in Sambisa Forest in Bama local government area of the state. Now on business update. Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority has called on diesel consumers to embrace gas to reduce carbon emission. The authority chief executive, Farouk Ahmed, spoke at a one-day stakeholders engagement on gas utilization in Nigeria and Kano. Mr. Ahmed, who was represented by Executive Director, Distribution Systems, Storage and Retailing Infrastructure, Ubugo Ukoha, said there is urgent need for large consumers of diesel to embrace use of gas, which has been designated as Nigeria's transition fuel. The federal government has put in place various initiatives and policy framework, including the Natural Gas Expansion Program and the Decade Gas Expansion Program. In his remarks, the Northwest Regional Coordinator, Shuaibu Samuel, explained that the event was to encourage industry operators to transit from fuel to gas against the backdrop that the latter is not only cheaper, but it is clean to the environment and has less carbon emission. Now on international scene.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
The commander of South Africa's ground forces has visited Moscow for talks with his Russian counterparts, just days after Washington accused South Africa of secretly providing arms to Russia. The South African National Defense Force said the meeting was planned well in advance as part of a long-standing arrangement and was a goodwill visit at the invitation of the Russian army. In a statement, South Africa Defense said it confirms that The chief of the SA Army, Lieutenant General Lawrence Mbatha, is in Moscow for bilateral talks between the two military establishments. It must be noted that South Africa has military-to-military bilateral relations with various countries in the continent and beyond. It said South Africa receives numerous military delegations into the country and sends its own delegations to other countries to discuss matters of mutual interest. Now on sport update. The Confederation of African Football has named Nduka Ugbagbe-led team as the fair play team of the group stage for their exemplary conduct during the fourth phase of the tournament. Despite their quarter-final defeat, the Golden Eaglets showcased outstanding discipline and sportsmanship throughout the group stage matches. In their opening game, the Eaglets secured a narrow 1-0 victory against Zambia with a solitary goal. Although the Nigerian lads suffered a similar 1-0 loss to Morocco, in their second match, they bounced back with an impressive 3-2 triumph over South Africa in their final Group B encounter. The five-time world champions, however, came short against Burkina Faso in their quarterfinals to miss out on a ticket to the FIFA World Cup later in the year. However, the individual efforts of Golden Eaglets defender Yahaya Lawali did not go unnoticed. Despite their quarterfinal exit, the Golden Eaglets' commendable conduct and individual recognition by CAF serve as a testament to their admirable performance and the values they displayed on the field. And that's all we have on news update for today, but before we go, a recap of the major headlines. Federal government approves 37 new universities in the country. United States imposes visa bans on Nigerians who undermine democracy. President doctors declare 5-day warning strike. On business news, federal government advocates gas utilization for safer environment. In international scene, South Africa Army chief visits Moscow in wake of United States weapons claim. On sport update, CAF hands Golden Eaglets another award despite quarterfinals elimination. Thanks for watching. That's the news. I'm Kuthum Mohammed. Do have a nice day.